Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're taking the new V1056 Olin the Orion or Big Mom into the Forest of Training Magnetic. I'm doing a bit of a showcase video, so let's fast forward a little bit. Let's move on to stage 11, and let's take a look at what Big Mom can actually do. Alright, so we fast forward past all the boring parts. This is not going to be a playthrough video. This is a showcase video discussing what the new Big Mom actually does, her strengths, her sub potentials, all of that good stuff. If you guys want a playthrough of this particular forest, link to the playlist is down in the description. While you're down there, don't forget to put the like button for me. Hit that big red subscribe button if you haven't done so already. So Big Mom, she's an int-driven powerhouse. Literally the fourth Big Mom that is int-driven powerhouse that is this sort of Wano variation. We have the Striker Powerhouse Legend V3, we have the free-to-play point farming Big Mom, and we have the 5+ Kazuna Big Mom, all in this Orion sort of form, right? It's so weird that they've done this again. Another driven powerhouse Big Mom that's int. We also have Big Mom versus Kaido, and like that's another option. So it's wild to me that there's so many Big Moms that are literally of the same class and typings. Nevertheless, she is an interesting unit. It's more of a Hera character than a Big Mom, if I'm completely honest with you, because it is the debut of Hera and the moment where she does that big tri-attack with Prometheus, Hera, and Napoleon. So her captain ability, today we are obviously showcasing her as a captain in the Kid Forest. She is a driven powerhouse int captain, boosting their attack by 5.25, HP by 1.65, and makes strength, int, and tandem slots have matching slot effects. She reduces cooldown by 1 turn at the start of the fight, and reduces her own cooldown by 2 turns after receiving damage. Now, very similar to what Super Type Blackbeard can do, Big Mom gives herself 2 turns of cooldown every time you take damage. Now, if you guys know me, I'm not a huge fan of these types of captains because I like to sort of speedrun content, being a very late endgame player. But nevertheless, this ability is incredibly strong, and a forest is the perfect place to showcase this because forests are designed to sort of take shots, to stall out stages and whatnot as well. And Big Mom, she's so good at doing that. With a 1.65 times a HP boost, you guys can see here we have 120,000 HP, and even though we're taking shots, it really doesn't matter all that much because we have so much HP to work with. A very, very good sub for this as well is actually the Fire Tank Pirates. Fire Tank Pirates not only heal a certain percentile of your HP every time you switch, but they also give you a 20% damage reduction literally every time you switch with them. They heal by 25% every time you switch. They also heal 5% of your max HP. And as you guys will see here, that's like 6,500 healing every single turn, which is actually insane. So the Fire Tank Pirates are an exceptional sub, as they also boost driven, and if you put together sort of a driven-centric team, like you guys see right here, you can do some pretty gnarly things. Big Mom as a captain, overall, she's not the greatest speed farming captain, but she does have 1 turn of cooldown, which is awesome. She does give him some matching orbs, and she's very, very tanky. Int, one of the best colors in the game. Driven, one of the best classes in the game, and same with Powerhouse. So she's immediately going to be up there in the top tier captains, but we're kind of littered with very good int captains, very good driven captains, very good powerhouse captains. So whilst she does stand very tall in terms of a very good captain, within her category, she's probably not the best option. Off the top of my head, I really like running something like Lucci for a powerhouse captain. I really like running this Blackbeard that's on this team as a powerhouse captain. You have a lot of other really good options for powerhouse. You also have something like Super Tandem Kaido is another really good option. Driven are littered with so many good options as well. You have Versa Kainu, you have Superclass Doflamingo, the list goes on and on. You have Super Tandem Kid, like, you have so many very good options when it comes to these particular classes. That Big Mom, she's just like very good. Like, she's just a very, very good captain, very solid captain, but this is where she gets a little bit interesting. She has a 3-stage special, and on level 3, she's on a 34-turn cooldown. Disgusting. Now, obviously, they want you to use her as a captain. Obviously, they want you to take damage so you actually get those cooldowns. And in a forest, or something like Grand Voyage, which is where Big Mom shines the most, that's where you're going to see this. So obviously, we have the level 3. At level 3, she does a 20% HP cut that ignores defensive effects, changes all slots, including blocks, to tandem, applies Ignite and Paralysis for 3 turns at 150 times the enemy's attack as end-of-turn damage, as well as a 50% chance to paralyze, boosts damage dealt to igniting and paralyze by 2.25 for 3 turns, and then boosts INT-driven powerhouse characters' base stats by 1500 for 3 turns. Heals by the number of enemies defeated up to 20 times the character's recovery at the end of 3 turns, and if you have an attack and orb boost, further increase the attack and orb boost by 0.3. So it's an absolute mouthful at level 3. The downside is you are never going to see this, like, ever. Unless you, like I said, unless you're doing something like me playing a forest here, or taking her into Grand Voyage like you guys saw in my previous videos, which I'll link in the description as well, you're never really going to see this stage 3 special. But she does have 2 other stages that are fairly good. At stage 2, she's on a 21 turn cooldown, which is still very, very high, by the way, but her level 1 is at 14 turns. Now, most of the time, you will be seeing her level 1. And at level 1, she's a 10% HP cup. She changes block orbs into tandem still. She applies the ignite and paralysis for 3 turns. It's just 100 times, not 150, and a 30% chance to paralyze, which isn't a big deal. She then doubles the damage dealt to ignite and paralysis for 3 turns instead of a 2.25, which honestly, not that big of a deal. Like, the extra damage, like, conditional is not that detrimental. However, when you get boosted stats and you see the stage 2, you can actually get that 2.25. She's then 1,000 base stats to INT and driven and powerhouse characters for 3 turns instead of 1,500, and her level 2 is 1,250. And then she also heals 15 times the character's recovery at the end of the turn, depending on the enemies that you've defeated for 3 turns. That's kind of the same when you go to, when you go to the level 2, it becomes the 20 times like it is on level 3. And then on level 3, really, she just gets that extra, like, additional 0.3 buff. Now, for what she does at level 3, I don't think 34 turns was worth it, or is worth it. I honestly believe that if you're going to make us wait 34 turns, go through full immunity with your burn. Go through full immunity with your paralysis. Like why not? The thing about Big Mom is, right, she paralyzes, so then the enemy can't hit you, so you can't start charging your specials back as well. Especially if you get that level 3, that 50% paralysis, it's no joke. However, the burn is pretty nice, and you can use stuff like Versa Kainu to get his, like, 4-turn conditional buff against burned enemies, or you can even just use his condition to reapply the burn on the next turn, which is actually really, really cool. So a Kainu, great sub. You have some great options with the Fire Tank Pirates as well. But like I said, most of the time you're going to see level 1 here. You might see level 2 with boosted stats, stuff like Kazuna and whatnot, if that works. And if you can ever see stage 3, God forbid, like, she can do a lot of damage with her level 3. But like I said, you're never really going to use it. She is a super tandem unit as well, and she's also a super type. Super type, you need Kaido, Katakuri, Perispera, Smoothie, Cracker, Otama, or just when you use 4 specials. She then does 100 times his attack in non-type damage to all enemies, which is great for something like Treasure Map. She gives herself a Tandem Orb, which is great for her Tandem ability. Reduces the top row character's special charge by 3 turns, which is great to go into her special. And then she boosts the normal attacks of INT, Driven, and Powerhouse by 2.25 for 1 turn. So she gets Color Affinity with her Super type, which is actually pretty nice, and it's for her entire team. Her Super Tandem is actually pretty interesting. At level 1, you need 3 or more Driven Powerhouse characters, plus one of the following characters on the crew: Kaido, Katakuri, Perispero, Smoothie, Cracker, or Otama. Now, obviously, they got a very good Otama that came out with this batch, and there are a lot of very good options that you guys can use for her team. The Big Mom Pirates are littered with powerhouse units. You have PvP Smoothie, you have Superclass Katakuri, you have V1 Katakuri 6+, you have the Perispero on the team, you have Ovens. Like, you have a lot of very, very good options when it comes to, like, building this team. And it's very, very easy to get her Super Tandem mechanic, as well as activate her Super type. At level 1, she's a 1.25 boost to Driven and Powerhouse units. At level 5, however, she becomes a 2 times attack boost, but also removes 2 turns of damage reduction with her Super Tandem. And then you only need 1 or more Driven Powerhouse character and one of her family members. So she's a very interesting character. I wouldn't put her at the creme de la creme. I wouldn't even gas her up as one of the best units in the game. Obviously, she's a bit of a cooldown unit after the 8.5th anniversary as well. Plus, she's sort of a build-up for what we might see coming into the New Year's Sugo Fest. Going back so heavily to the Wano era that Bandai has decided to do, is telling me that we're probably be getting some crazy Wano legends for the New Year's Sugo Fest. So, an interesting character nonetheless. I do hope this should be on the New Year's banner for most players to actually pick her up there, because I don't believe this character is worth summoning for. However, she's great in Grand Voyage, she's terrific in Forest, and some of this back-ended content that some of you mid to start game players might be struggling with, Big Mom might be a very good hybrid option for you guys. But if you guys enjoyed the video, belt the like button for me if you're new to the channel, hit that big red subscribe button. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later!